Good morning. I'm John Parker, and I'd like to welcome you to First Union, a company I've thoroughly enjoyed being a part of for 11 years. All of you have had personal experiences in the world of finance. Today begins an orientation process called Discover First Union. It will give you a different, more insightful perspective of the financial world, our perspective. We'll show you where we're going, the way we plan to get there, and how you can play an important part in that journey. A variety of programs has been prepared for you. From them, you'll acquire our philosophy, the strength which governs our thought, the torch that lights our way. By the way, Discover First Union has an anthem called All Together. You'll hear it throughout the broadcast, and especially at the end, for one important reason. It keeps reminding us that an orientation is not just for you as an individual, it's for all of us as a team. Discover First Union is an igniter for both your personal achievement and the success of our company, all together as one. The first program follows immediately on our Employee Satellite Network, ETN. Others will be available on your desktop or in First University Learning Centers. Let's begin with a personal message from our Chairman and CEO, Mr. Ed Crutchfield.
Hello, I'm Ed Crutchfield. Welcome to First Union. Today we're going to ignite your new career. And make no mistake about it, we really do want to start a fire. That fire is a burning desire to succeed. It's also the energy you'll share with members of your team. But more than anything else, I'd like the fire to be a symbol of your total dedication to customers, all our customers. Let our customers' best interests be the torch that lights your way. However, we all know you can't start a fire without a spark. The spark is not this orientation program or my advice out here on our trading floor. The real spark is you. It's your intelligence and integrity, your creativity and drive, and the individual difference you can make. The spark is a belief in yourself and a commitment to your team. Starting today, make your fire burn as bright as you can. Be true to yourself, take the initiative, let Discover First Union be your first step in an exciting new career.
Thanks, Ed. Hi, I'm Don Johnson. On behalf of First Union's Human Resources team, I want to welcome you personally to this great company. You made an excellent career choice. When I joined First Union in 1972, I was amazed my first week in the office, and the feeling continues to this day. I couldn't imagine a better place to work or one that's more fun. I'm sure you're thrilled to be here and you're ready for a fast start in our rapidly changing financial world. The good news is that you'll find a lot of friendly and bright First Union people ready to help you be successful. Your new team will be proactive and help you get comfortable and find what you need. Besides the one-on-one support of your manager and colleagues, you'll have an electrifying orientation experience that surpasses your expectations. Our preparation for your arrival has been meticulous. Guided by an orientation roadmap, you'll systematically discover First Union. By the time you complete the process in just a few weeks, you'll be up to speed. Today we'll focus on the most immediate concerns of many new employees. This broadcast will answer some basic day-to-day questions and set the stage for next steps. I'm delighted that you're now a part of the First Union family. Please come this way.
Welcome to the financial world. We've entered the prism of First Union's television ads for this part of the broadcast. The financial world was created by Industrial Light and Magic. They're the guys that made Star Wars and other great adventures. We're using the financial world to invite corporate and individual customers from all across America to learn who we are and appreciate what's so distinctive about First Union. This location offers a tremendous view of the mountain where you are now. I'm standing where many of your customers live and work. From a customer's vantage point, that mountain looks mighty impressive, and we're all working together to keep it that way. The first question that we're going to answer today will also be the last when we finish this broadcast. What's going to be my next step? What will I use to build momentum and come up to speed? There are two major resources that have been created for you. Here's the first. Discover First Union. It's a self-paced, award-winning program of training and business acumen.
You'll find it all over the footprint, everywhere we work. It's on multimedia workstations and laptops. It's also on the intranet and the interweb. By the way, Intranet and Interweb are networks linking computers throughout First Union. Discover First Union is also available in a book and video package in case you don't have convenient access to a computer. Regardless of which format you choose, the content, I promise you, will always be the same. Discover First Union covers a complete range of topics, including corporate identity and the brand structure and footprint, products and services of different business units, our philosophy of leadership and growth, key business strategies, the planning and appraisal of employee performance, workplace policies and procedures, human resources programs and benefits, and, believe it or not, much more. It could take up to 6 hours to learn everything in Discover First Union, but
You'll go at your own pace, probably using the program just a few of the modules at a time. You'll concentrate mainly on topics that your manager feels are more important right now, but the rest of the program will be there for you anytime you need it. It's not going anywhere.
remember now, I said that there are 2 major resources for orientation. Here's the second. The Employee Handbook contains explicit, practical information about every facet of life at First Union. It can also be found everywhere we work, on computers across the footprint, and in a convenient book. Computer-based versions of the handbook and Discover First Union are linked. This allows you to jump from one program into the other and then back again. It's great.
That's especially useful when you need to supplement the big picture in Discover First Union with nitty-gritty details found only in the handbook. That's the best way to complete the process of discovery. After orientation, you're going to continue using the handbook throughout your career, but remember, it's updated in January. And always check to make sure that your handbook is the current version. Okay, in a few days, your manager is going to give you access to Discover First Union and the Employee Handbook, along with instructions on how to use them. But you won't need them to benefit from this broadcast today. Let's proceed all together to the next topic. Our next segment is about new employee forms, also known as paperwork. If you received a typical letter of employment, it most likely came with a few printed forms, such as the I-9 form for citizenship and a direct deposit form. Each form has detailed instructions that explain what to do with it. But let's take a moment to review them first. The instructions for the I-9 explain that you must verify your status as a citizen of the United States. Here's a list of documents you may use in connection with the verification of citizenship. Now, don't forget, there is a deadline. The I-9 must be completed no more than 3 days after your employment at First Union begins. Your human resources representative or manager can help, so just be sure to contact either one if you have any questions. Now let's review another new employee form, the direct deposit of pay. This form tells First Union where to deposit your paycheck electronically. Now, after you arrange direct deposit, a voucher or receipt for each deposit will be sent to you in each pay period. It's safe and quick, and it's by far the most efficient and convenient way to get paid at First Union. Needless to say, we would appreciate your business. We'll be happy to make your direct deposit into a First Union account. All it takes is a phone call. You see, part of living the brand is spreading the word about our great company. For me, that means giving everyone I meet lots of reasons to bank with First Union. I could do that now. In fact, I would love a few minutes to explain the benefits of doing all your banking on the mountain, but I can't in this broadcast. So instead, I'm going to suggest that you call the number on the screen and talk to a financial specialist at First Union Direct. He or she will explain everything. You'll be able to open a direct deposit account right over the phone. Now, once you open your direct deposit account, be sure to write the routing and transit number on the direct deposit of pay form. It's that easy to get started. By the way, while you're on the phone with First Union Direct, you may wish to take advantage of the many products that First Union offers its employees. You can get preferred rates on credit cards. We'll waive origination fees on mortgages. You can roll over your 401k savings plan from a previous job. All it takes is one telephone call. Here's the number: 800-ASK-FUNB. That's pretty easy. You also have the option of direct deposit into an account with another financial institution. All the same, write the routing and transit number of that account on the direct deposit of pay form. Your completed paperwork will ensure that you're properly entered in First Union's Human Resources database. That's one of the ways we come together all as one. Now, if you haven't already completed all the forms that came with your letter of employment, please do it today. Remember, the forms are time sensitive, and it's your responsibility to complete them. If
If you have questions or need additional copies, just contact the Human Resources representative who signed your letter of employment. Now, let's move all together, like in the song, to the next topic. As you get ready to dial First Union Direct, one of your key questions could be, yeah, that's right, when will my paycheck hit the direct deposit account I'm about to open? In other words, when will you have access to your funds? Okay, the answer is like clockwork. First Union employees are paid on the 15th and the last business day of each month. That's twice every month or 24 times each year. 12 times, you do the math. With direct deposit, your money automatically lands in your account. No drive-through window at 2 p.m., no standing in line for a teller, not even a trip to the ATM. It sounds easy, and it is, and it's true for everybody. I'm not kidding. But does payroll processing work just the same for all employees? In other words, are all employees paid the same way? Well, actually, they're not. How you're paid depends on whether you're an exempt or non-exempt employee. Exempt employees are those who are not required to complete a time card. They're automatically paid the same amount 24 times a year on the 15th and on the last business day of each month. On each of those days, exempt employees receive 1/24 of their annual salary, covering the pay period just ended. In other words, exempt employees are normally compensated for work they performed in the pay period that has just ended. For example, on the 15th of any month, they would be paid for work that was performed from the 1st through the 15th of that month. Now, payroll is similar for non-exempt employees, but there are some important differences. First, the most basic difference. Non-exempt employees are required to complete a time card, like the one you see pictured here. Non-exempt employees use time cards, exempt employees don't. It's that simple. Non-exempt employees use time cards to report their regularly scheduled hours, along with any exception time that occurs in the pay period. But don't worry about the exception time thing. We'll talk about that in a moment. If you're a non-exempt employee, this is a priority. You should learn how to complete a time card on the day you start work. If you haven't done so already, please ask your manager for blank time cards and instructions on how to use them. It's important. Okay, before we begin a slightly involved explanation of how non-exempt employees are paid, here we go with a quick recap about when they are paid. Everyone is paid on the 15th and the last business day of each month. The same 24 pay periods apply to every employee of First Union. That means when is the same for non-exempt and exempt employees, only how is different. Here's the first difference in how non-exempt employees are paid. Here we go. Ready? On the 15th and the last business day of each month, non-exempt employees receive payment for their regularly scheduled hours in the period that just ended. For example, on the 15th of the month, a non-exempt employee is paid for regularly scheduled hours in the roughly 2-week period, beginning on the 1st and ending on the 15th. Those regularly scheduled hours are used to calculate what's called the base pay of non-exempt employees. How? It's simple. The base pay for each non-exempt employee is determined by a formula. I got it right here. Here's an example for you to follow. Ready? A non-exempt employee's regularly scheduled hours per week is multiplied by the number of weeks in a year, 52. The total is then divided by the number of pay periods in a year, 24. 52, 24. In the example shown here, the formula has been extended for a full-time, non-exempt employee scheduled to work 40 hours per week. Now, if you follow the formula, it shows that 86.67 regularly scheduled hours per pay period. The base pay for this employee will assume 86.67 regularly scheduled hours per pay period. It's pretty straightforward, but there's really a bit more to the story. This next part may seem just a little confusing at first, so pay careful attention to the details. I'm sure you'll have no problem, though. We've explained how and when non-exempt employees receive their base pay. But what about work hours that they were not regularly scheduled? These hours are called exception time. First Union defines exception time as any plus or minus deviation from a regular schedule. Now, there may be some overtime in a pay period when you work more hours than were scheduled. Or there may be dock time in another pay period when you work fewer hours than planned. It happens. All regular hours and exception time must be recorded on the time card. The time card is an accurate report of hours worked, whether or not they were all scheduled. A properly filled-in time card is always the basis for paying non-exempt employees. But unlike regular hours, exception time is not reflected in base pay. Also, exception time is paid in arrears. And exception time changes the total amount that an employee receives in a pay period, up or down, depending upon what was reported on the time card. See, that time card is an important part of this. Consider this example. If a non-exempt employee works overtime between the 1st and the 15th, that overtime will be paid in arrears, most likely in the pay period that ends on the last day of the month. Base pay for regularly scheduled hours will be paid on the 15th. Overtime in that period will be included with compensation for the next pay period at the end of the month. Here's the opposite example. Say an employee works fewer hours than scheduled between the 1st and the 15th. His or her dock time will be subtracted in arrears, once again at the end of the next pay period, which is the last business day of the month. The dock time will not be subtracted from regularly scheduled hours on the 15th. Instead, it'll be subtracted from compensation for the next pay period at the end of the month. 0-hour and temporary employees also fill time cards, but unlike non-exempt employees, they have no regularly scheduled hours. Therefore, all time worked could be considered exception time. That's why these employees are generally paid one period in arrears. Okay, we're going to now quickly recap before starting on to the next topic. Here we go. Pay periods end on the 15th and the last business day of each month for all employees. Exempt employees receive 1/24th of their annual salary for the period just ended. Non-exempt employees are compensated for regular hours in the period just ended, adjusted for exception time in the previous period. 0-hour and temporary employees receive compensation for the previous period only. And apart from exempt employees, everyone must complete a time card in order to be paid. Remember, with direct deposit, your money automatically lands in your bank account on payday, and we would love your account to be with First Union. We've focused on pay because it's important. Oh good, I'm glad we agree. But First Union rewards great performances with more than a paycheck. We're committed to the overall success and security of our employees, both here and away from work. Our benefit programs demonstrate this commitment to your total success. Let's just make sure you're in position to take maximum advantage of them. All First Union benefits fall into the categories seen here. Health and well-being includes insurance plans such as medical, dental, and vision. Financial security includes benefits like a savings plan and disability insurance. And work-life management covers paid time off, among other things. Over the next few minutes, we're going to cover some general points about all our benefits, but you should plan to study the details in the days and weeks ahead using the resources for orientation that will soon be in your hands. You ready? Let's begin with what you need to do to receive employee benefits. Now, I'm going to phrase this as a question. Here we go. Do new employees automatically receive benefits after they join First Union? The answer is, yeah, in some cases. Some benefits will begin for you if you meet the eligibility requirements. They're automatic and require no action whatsoever on your part. Now, others will not begin at all unless you deliberately choose them from an array of optional benefits for eligible employees that are offered by First Union. You got that? Great. Now, the next question is, are all benefits available to all employees? Well, the answer is no, they're not. Instead, employees must be eligible to receive the benefits they choose. Eligibility, well, it's determined on an individual basis according to objective criteria defined by First Union. Now, the news is that First Union makes it easy for you to determine your eligibility based on the two criteria shown here. I like that. And once you determine your eligibility for the benefits you want, you'll be able to follow specific enrollment guidelines to initiate them. Most guidelines will be found in the Employee Handbook. Now, the handbook contains a definitive list of eligibility requirements for all First Union benefits. You'll soon get a copy if you haven't already gotten one. In most cases, you'll need an appropriate employment status and length of service in order to qualify for a benefit program. But we're going to concentrate first on employment status, and then in a little while, we'll come back to service requirements. Okay, employment status. It's a product of work hours. There's 5 types of status based on the number and kind of hours that you work each week. Now, the types of employment status are, here we go, full-time, part-time, temporary, 0 hour, and peak time. I'm going to pause for a few seconds while you read the definitions. Most people already know their employment status, but since First Union permits variable scheduling for many employees, this may make employment status seem a little less obvious. In any case, if you're in doubt, just ask your human resources representative for help. Oh, also, if you originally entered First Union through First Place, the internal temporary staffing agency, once again, your human resources representative can help you determine your eligibility for benefits. Now that said, let's take a look at First Union benefits that you may be eligible for. Here we go. Now you're probably going to recognize your employment status in what follows. When you do, you'll feel so much better prepared for the next steps in the orientation process. Here we go. For employees with full-time status, here are the benefits in the area of health and well-being. I'm going to pause while you read the list a second. Remember, only full-time employees are eligible for these benefits. Here are full-time benefits in the area of financial security. All First Union benefits are carefully described in Discover First Union and the Employee Handbook. I'll pause again while you read the list. Take your time.
We are united in the spirit of the music at our heels. On reflection we rebuild and we restore. We are as Mother Nature's children as we dance around the floor. All together, all as one. All together, relentlessly we're dancing on. All together, all as one. All together, relentlessly we're dancing.
Here finally are full-time benefits in the area of work-life management.
Dancing feet, we'll shape and shadowless, revolving to the one eternal beat. With hearts connected, we will turn the other around. We are as Mother Nature's children as we dance upon the ground. All together, all as one. All together, relentlessly we're dancing on. All together.
If you're impressed, well, you should be. First Union's commitment to employees is remarkably strong. Okay, now we're going to switch from full-time to part-time status. Oh, and note that part-time employees are not eligible for any benefits in the area of health and well-being. But here are their benefits in the area of financial security.
We'll stay forever here within these timeless walls. We'll stay forever here, no matter how the turning silver
Here are part-time benefits in the area of work-life management.
falls before. We are as Mother Nature's children as we dance around the floor. All together, all as one. All together, relentlessly we're dancing on. All together, all as one. All together, relentlessly we're dancing on.
You see, the list demonstrates First Union's support for work-life balance. You'll learn more about that in Discover First Union. And now finally, to complete our coverage of employment status, these are the benefits available to temporary, peak time, and 0-hour employees.
Okay, we've got all that. Now let's take a moment to review employment status before we tackle length of service. The 5 types of employment status are full-time, part-time, temporary, 0-hour, and peak time. Full-time status gives access to comprehensive benefits in the areas of health and well-being, financial security, and work-life management. Part-time status gives access to significant benefits in the areas of financial security and work-life management. Now, the remaining 3 types of status, which have no regularly scheduled hours, still give access to key benefits in the area of work-life management. Be sure to review Discover First Union and the Employee Handbook for more information. Okay, I think we're ready to forge ahead. Next up, length of service, the second major component of eligibility. When you determine your employment status does indeed make you eligible for the benefits that you want, you'll also learn that your eligibility is contingent on length of service. Each benefit has its own service requirement, and you're going to find that some of these service requirements are easy to understand, such as day 1, or after 90 days, or after 1 year of service. Other service requirements are less straightforward. Take this example. For example, the first day of the month after you have completed 1 full calendar month of service. We'll get back to that in just a second. It'll help you fully understand your eligibility and choices if you can answer the following questions at the time you chose your benefits. Here we go. What was the day you began working at First Union? How long have you been employed by First Union? That's because eligibility and enrollment may hinge on the day that you started work or the number of weeks or months that you've completed. Okay, we're going to review this example of a slightly challenging length of service requirement so you can get the hang of doing this on your own. Eligibility for this benefit begins the first day of the month after you have completed 1 full calendar month of service. Pretend your first day is May 3rd. That means June is the first full calendar month you complete. So the first day of the very next month is what altogether? July 1st. Thank you very much. A person starting work on May 3rd would thus be eligible for this benefit on July 1st. It's occasionally challenging to determine eligibility, but if you can read your handbook carefully, you will not be confused, I guarantee it. Once you determine your eligibility for benefits, your next step will be to enroll, correct? Well, actually, this is only true some of the time. That's because enrollment is automatic for a select portion of First Union benefits available to full and part-time employees. We're talking now about core benefits, for which no enrollment is necessary. You're automatically in the plan if you have full or part-time status and the requisite length of service. Oh, by the way, First Union pays 100% of the cost of these benefits. Take a moment to see what they are. The savings plan is also a core benefit for full and part-time employees, but it's a little different for 2 reasons. First, you must deliberately enroll for it. It's not automatic. Second, it's meaningful only if you contribute financially to the plan. Unlike other core benefits, this one involves some cost to you. That's why we listed it separately. Core benefits should be clear to you now. Remember, you'll find lots of details about them in Discover First Union and the Employee Handbook. Okay, now we're going to change our focus to flexible benefits. Flexible benefits are for full-time employees only. Enrollment is not automatic. If you're eligible, you may choose to sign up for them and bear part of the cost. So take a moment to see what they are.
We are united now within these ancient wheels. We are united in...
Full-time employees may choose the flexible benefits that meet their needs. Now, none is mandatory or automatic, and none is free, though First Union may cover a significant portion of the cost. Let's pause to discuss paying for flexible benefits. As explained a moment ago, full and part-time employees don't pay for core benefits. First Union provides them to eligible employees at no charge. Flexible benefits are different. First Union pays for a portion of flexible benefits, while eligible full-time employees cover the balance. Now, how does First Union pay its share? With an enlightened form of currency called flex credits. Seen here, there's two kinds of flex credits. You've got flex service credits and flex medical credits. Service credits are based on your length of service and number of working hours per week. Now, medical credits are available only if you enroll in a medical plan. The number of available credits depends on where you're located and the coverage category that you choose. Okay, we're going to quickly recap before we continue. Now, here are some key points to remember. After determining your eligibility for benefits, your next step is enrollment. Enrollment for most core benefits is automatic for full and part-time employees. First Union pays 100% of the cost of most core benefits. Enrollment for flexible benefits is optional for full-time employees. First Union pays for a portion of flexible benefits with the flex credits. Individual allowances of flex credits are based on length of service and number of hours per week. Portions of flexible benefits not paid by First Union must be paid by the employee. Every full-time new employee will automatically receive a personalized benefits enrollment package. It's generally 2 to 4 weeks after his or her start date. The package is mailed to a home address. It contains detailed information about flexible benefits. It also contains a personal enrollment worksheet noting the cost of flexible benefits and a total amount of flex credits that may be used by the employee. This benefits enrollment package is a very important tool. It outlines step-by-step instructions for the telephone enrollment process. You see, eligible employees must enroll by telephone for their selected flexible benefits. The enrollment package contains a comparison of the healthcare plans that First Union offers, as well as contact information for providers. During telephone enrollment, the employee chooses from the medical plans in their region. In addition to selecting providers in a healthcare plan, it's the employee's responsibility to contact the chosen carrier directly to obtain a First Union managed care enrollment form and physician directory. This point is crucial. Enrollment in a medical plan cannot be confirmed until a managed care enrollment form is processed. Now, once the form is received, a medical insurance card will be issued within 15 working days. Oh, by the way, if you need medical services before receiving a card, you could use a copy of the First Union Managed Care Enrollment Form. Physicians and pharmacists are permitted to accept the form from new employees in lieu of the card. And one final word about enrollment. If eligible employees choose not to enroll for flexible benefits when they're hired, they will not be permitted to enroll until the next annual enrollment period. Now, the only exception to this is if they have a qualified change in family status.
A big part of this broadcast has been devoted to an explanation of benefits. By now you should understand many of the fundamentals. When you come to more detailed information in Discover First Union, the Employee Handbook, and the Benefits Enrollment Package, you'll probably know just how to handle it. Remember though, your Human Resources representative is available to help if you need it. We want you to take full advantage of your eligibility and create the strongest possible foundation for success. All right, now, let's begin a new topic. Paid time off, or PTO, is the term we use for time away from work caused by illness, vacation, or personal business that can only be handled during business hours. With the exception of emergencies or sudden illness, PTO must be scheduled in advance and approved by a manager. Now, it's an important perk, but it should be used judiciously. Now, during the first year, full and part-time employees receive PTO after 90 days of service. Now, the amount of PTO is variable. Let's take a couple of minutes here to talk about the PTO allowance for full-time employees in their first year with First Union. Here's a chart. It shows the PTO allowance for first year full-time employees working 5 days a week holding non-officer positions.
All together, all as one.
Okay, this next chart shows the PTO allowance for first year full-time employees working 5 days a week holding officer and assistant vice president positions. And finally, this chart shows the PTO allowance for first-year full-time employees working 5 days a week, holding positions of vice president and above. These examples provide a frame of reference for PTO. New full or part-time employees working less than 5 days per week can calculate their PTO allowances, and it's based on officer title, number of work days per week, and hire date. Now, the employee handbook provides more details if you need them. Oh, by the way, if you're a full or part-time employee and have an unscheduled PTO, you will be neither paid nor charged for PTO, but you will be charged with an unscheduled or unexcused PTO occurrence. The employee handbook will also explain in greater detail what this is as well. In addition to PTO for illness or vacation, First Union recognizes that employees may need time away from work to care for a child, a spouse, or even a parent. We call this family care PTO and treat it as a special case. Eligibility for family care PTO begins after 90 days of service for full and part-time employees. Full-time or part-time employees regularly scheduled to work 5 days per week receive a family care allotment of 10 days per year after the hiring year. During their hiring year, these employees receive a family care allotment that is prorated according to the chart that you're looking at. After the hiring year, full-time or part-time employees regularly scheduled to work less than 5 days per week will receive a family care allotment based on their number of days worked. Now, the chart explains how this happens. During the hiring year, these employees receive a prorated family care allotment, and all you have to do is check your employee handbook for more details. Okay, in order to take family care PTO, you have to have documentation, and you can discuss the rules for family care with your manager or your team leader. Each year, First Union observes a holiday schedule used by the Federal Reserve System. Here's a list for employees working 5 days per week. If you work less than 5 days per week, you'll receive a prorated number of holidays. Should a holiday fall on a day when you are not scheduled to work, you may be eligible to receive what's called a floating holiday. That would be scheduled at a future date. Phew. During this action-packed hour, we've covered many needs that arise just after joining First Union. Our plan was to answer your most pressing questions today. I hope we accomplished that. And I hope we got you fired up about the orientation process that follows. Here again are the resources that you'll use for your next steps in the orientation process. Discover First Union and the Employee Handbook contain all the information you need in a very accessible and integrated format. Also, go ahead and jot down this contact information for the First Union Human Resources Service Center. The Service Center is available to answer your payroll and benefits questions or supply forms, especially those that concern benefit eligibility and enrollment.
Welcome back from the financial world. I hope we've answered a lot of your questions. Now you're ready for full orientation in the days and weeks ahead. I hope you're beginning to feel the passion in everything we do at First Union. This is a bold and innovative company with awesome capabilities and a heart of gold. Before I go, I want to share what I think it means for all of us to be together. Thousands of superb professionals make First Union an exciting place to work. We all have different backgrounds and individual career goals, but we also have something in common that makes us one. We live our brand. As a customer, you may have recognized our brand before you joined First Union. The people who served your financial needs, like those who hired you, reached out on a personal level. They were easy to deal with, and they strove to understand your needs objectively. We sometimes call ourselves money experts, but the truth is we're experts about a lot of other things too. And first among them is people. People are the biggest reason for our success as a financial services company. As our company has expanded, our customers and employees have become more diverse. This diversity is one of our major strengths. Together, we will dominate the competition and win lifetime loyalty from our customers. From our peak in the financial world within the mountain that's called First Union, I invite you to join our relentless pursuit of quality service in everything you do.
Welcome to the financial mountain called First Union. You are now part of America's 8th largest brokerage and 6th largest bank. You are also part of a 70,000 member family, a family of money experts serving the needs and desires of over 16 million customers worldwide. A family of individuals who, through teamwork, trust, and pride, work together to make both our professional and personal lives a success.
On reflection we rebuild and we restore. We are as Mother Nature's children as we dance around the floor. All together, all as one.
You'll find First Union is a company that knows the value of words like teamwork and pride. Nearly 100 years ago, we began our business life as a small local bank. Today, thanks to the perseverance and dedication of our employees, we've grown into a respected global financial force.
All together, all as one. All together, relentlessly we're dancing on.
And as a company, we want every one of you to know that you have the chance to grow just as dramatically. At First Union, no door is closed to any individual who shows ambition, passion, and a willingness to learn. That is the source of our strength internally and the foundation of our success today and tomorrow.
We'll stay forever here within these timeless walls. We are as Mother Nature's children as we dance around the floor.
You've heard us say, come to the mountain called First Union. Or if you prefer, the mountain will come to you. Well, here it comes.
Relentlessly we're dancing on. We are united now within these ancient wheels. We are united in the spirit of the music at our heels. On reflection we rebuild and we restore. We are as Mother Nature's children as we dance around the floor. All together. We're dancing on. All together, all as one. All together, relentlessly we're dancing on. We are invisible upon these dancing feet. We're shape and shadowless, revolving to the one eternal beat. With hearts connected, we will turn the other around. We are as Mother Nature's children as we dance upon the ground.